Okay, okay, guys. We're live. Hey, guys, it's Old Man G here back again. We've got another weekly episode of the Red Devil Studio Live podcast. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. I'm joined again by Tom, LB, and Shawnee. And hopefully, for the next hour and a bit or so, we can have like a good, respectful conversation about all things football. But before we get into the channel, remember to please like, share, and subscribe to Red Devil Studio. Follow us on Twitter, X, and smash that notification, and consider becoming a member. Get your questions in the comments as well, guys. We'll be taking a lot of questions in the comments. We'll be hopefully, if we have time, try and do a question and answer at the end and we can ask any of the questions to anybody in the panel, basically. So without further ado, let's just go straight into our first topic, and it's Are Arsenal back? Are Arsenal back? Arsenal, obviously, fantastic win against Wolves that I don't think people expected them to win, to be honest, given how well Wolves have been doing recently. Let's just get straight into it. I'll start with you, Tom. Like, given obviously the fact that they've been unbeaten in 3 or 4 games now, you know, we've got the players like Saka, Babang starting to tick, and Arteta sort of starting to get his philosophy, you know, ahead of plan. Are Arsenal, is this essentially, maybe are they back, or is this a turnaround? Is this a turning point for Arsenal Football Club?
Oh, well, let's just say I wasn't a happy bunny the night that Arsenal actually won, because my brother actually had a bet and he would have won £250 given Wolves would have won.
Right.
and obviously that didn't happen, so that was a bit of a bummer. But anyways, in terms of, I don't really get why. It's all right. Obviously, you know, getting a consistent run of games and winning and everything. You know, 3 or 4 games, like you just said. But I think just off of the field, I think things have been, you know, on and off the field for Arsenal. I think it's been a lot better since the last time we spoke about. Last time we spoke about them, they were in the gutter, you know, losing to people like Brighton and stuff, getting absolutely embarrassed. But now, obviously, getting a lot of their younger players signed down to long-term contracts, like you just talked about Saka, Martinelli, good young players in the making. And like you just said there, you know, I came on the podcast a couple of weeks ago when we talked about Arsenal. I said Arteta needs to have his stamp on the team. You know, every manager, he's not like I say, he's not been in the job. He's only been in the job like a couple of months, and obviously he needs his time to. He's not even had a transfer window. Let's not forget, and he's pulling results out like that against Wolves. You know, nobody would expect it, and Wolves isn't exactly an easy place to go to. I think if the crowd would have been there, it would have been maybe a bit of a tougher task for Arsenal, because I know the crowd can play a factor in for teams like Wolves. But credit to Arteta, I think it was personally. You could see the tactics that he laid out there. It was press the defenders into making mistakes, such as Cody and stuff. And it was a case of try and hit Wolves on the counter-attack when they go too far up the field. And that obviously played into Arsenal's factor, given the attacking players that Wolves have. You know, you look at their midfield. They've got 3 midfielders in there: Dendoncker, Neves, and Moutinho, who are all attacking style midfielders, box to box midfielders. So you've not really got any midfielders at the back, and then it's basically 3 versus 2 because Johnny and Doherty like to bomb forward, just like Liverpool's fullbacks. So, but in terms of Arsenal are back, I don't really think, you know, the title of it, you know, Arsenal's back. It depends what you mean, because you know, when you talk about a team being back, you know. When you pronounce the word "are Arsenal back," are they playing like they were? I don't know, when they were winning Premier League titles and stuff. Not in glimpses, yeah, but not like a full-on 90 minutes where they're dominating the game and everything. But obviously it's a massive result for Arsenal, and they can take all the confidence out of it. And to be fair to Arsenal, I know we've talked about top 4 and stuff on here before. I don't necessarily think the top 4 is in their reach, but they're only 5 points away, and with the way teams are giving away points at the moment, you know, Leicester and stuff. Yeah, I know Leicester obviously won and stuff, but they've still got tough games to come. And, you know, at the end of the season, Arsenal maybe could just sneak in there. And obviously they've got a big game against Leicester tomorrow at the Emirates. If they win that, then that could play a major factor in possibly. People talk about them getting the Europa League. Maybe they could push on and get that Champions League. But in terms of Arteta, he needs to have a couple of transfer windows. Get rid of the players that he doesn't want, and hopefully sign some of his players like Aubameyang.
Sorry to interrupt you guys. Like, I'm just looking at the Spurs Everton game. Looks
it's
like
1-0 Spurs.
No, that's not what I'm referring to. Like, it looks like Lloris and Son are having a bit of a brawl.
Oh,
what happened?
It's because in recent games, like with Sheffield United and stuff, Son hasn't tracked back and helped Ben Davies out, and so Lloris being the captain's obviously having a go at him for that and showing a bit of leadership. Say, you need to put your back into it. And that's another thing. In terms of leadership at Arsenal, there's a lot more leaders on the field. I'm seeing a young team develop, just like we talk about with Man United. A young team is developing there. Same with Chelsea with some of their young players there, Gilmore and players like that. Like I say, when you give Arteta, a couple of windows and stuff, and you give him the time to stamp his philosophy on the team and the club, then you can criticise him and everything. But in terms of Arsenal being back, I don't. It's a good little run, but it's can they keep it going from now until the end of the season? And obviously, you've got to think Arsenal aren't out of it. They can still end the season on a high by winning a trophy. The FA Cup is still there to be had. And with the way Manchester City play, which we're going to get onto them tonight as well. Against Southampton, there's weaknesses there that Arsenal could definitely exploit, and they'll I'm telling you, Arsenal will definitely learn from that 3-0 loss at the Etihad. Definitely, in terms of attacking play, they can hurt. They've got the players to hurt any team. But Saka, Martinelli, they've got the players to hurt anybody. But I think in terms of Arsenal, just keep the confidence high, keep playing the way that they are and everything, and keep. Plodding along in a sense, and just keep this run going for as long as they can, and get as much confidence as they can.
Fair enough. Just quickly come from Team Takage1, who I know is an Arsenal fan. I know I'm not on the podcast, but what I want to say is the sign of a great manager is making average players good. Some of these players are to be uncoachable, and he's improved everyone.
Exactly.
And I think that's a fairly good point. I think that's essentially what you're saying, Tom. So
the only disagreement I would have is to say that they're average.
What?
But it's like you're taking young players like Saka and everything. They've still got at least a decade, maybe even a few more years after that, still to play, and they're still learning the game. And that's why I think this Arsenal team, being so young, players need to obviously learn and develop the game. So that would be my response to that.
Okay, Shawnee, what are your thoughts on on Arsenal being back, turnaround, that type of thing, given what happened against Wolves?
Turnaround, because back, I don't know, because if you're talking about back as in Tom was saying there, obviously if you had people like Vieira, Henry, those people are difficult to replace, and you probably can't replace those guys. But I saw a different Arsenal team the first game Arteta was in charge, even though they lost. I think he drew. Yeah. I think he drew in his first game, but straight away you could notice a difference. There was a fire, a spark. Players were trying. So I saw it a long time ago. I saw it as soon as Arteta stepped foot in the door there. There was change, and it was a positive change, and you could see that players were going out enjoying their football. Yeah, there were losses. Yeah, there were draws, but Arteta isn't going to go in there and all of a sudden just be like, "Oh, that's it. We're challenged for the Premier League title next season." It's just that's not how it works.
It needs time.
Yeah, exactly. So you got to it was the same with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. If you remember, right at the beginning, when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got into United, I was defending Solskjaer because I was just going, well, hold on a minute. He hasn't had any transfers. He hasn't had time to build his team. He hasn't even like been there really, because there was this spike of where he was getting the results, and then all of a sudden there was this decline, But he's made a few signings now, and look at United, look at them go. It takes a while. You can't just dismiss him straight away, and that's why I was like saying I was getting criticism from the United lot because they were like saying, "Oh, you just want to see Man United fail," and it's just like, well, no, because I have respect for the person. I have respect for the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He has feelings. You can't just have him in.
And it's your football opinion, obviously.
Yeah, that's it. And you can't just have him in and just like go, okay, and now you're out. And it's like he's like, oh, hold on a minute. Let me build a little bit. Let me show you my vision. If it then doesn't work out, all right, fine, I'll step down. And that's Arteta's exactly the same. Like he's come in, you saw a change. He's bringing in some youngsters. They're fighting. They wanna win. Eventually, if you have a team like that, you're gonna get results. And hopefully they'll be able to keep hold of like Aubameyang in the summer. Probably because of everything that's happened worldwide, they probably will do, because I don't know what it's going to look like in the summer. People moving around here, there, and everywhere. So I don't know what's going to happen. But if they can keep this team and maybe just add to it, just make some. There are a few players that I do think only turn up like maybe 1 in 5, 1 in 8 games. And they're the sort of players that you maybe have to have a look at and like go, okay, shall we send them out on loan? Shall we just shuffle it around a little bit and just because you can like Klopp when he's sending out or when he's talking with his backroom staff, they're like going, okay, I don't know if you saw that YouTube interview, but they're like saying that they'll sit down and they're just like going, okay, we want a specific role, a specific person for this role, or a specific, and then they'll list through the players, kind of like what they do in baseball, and then they just weigh up, what and personality comes into it as well. Once again, with Werner, he did speak with Klopp, but there was obviously something not right. And he doesn't want to disrupt what's happening at Liverpool, because why would you do that? Why would you want to disrupt what we got right now?
It only takes one player to ruin a dressing room, really.
Is it because it was disruptive, or was it because the Liverpool owners weren't prepared to fork out the money for it?
Well,
I think
that's
that's a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, we've just won a Premier title. If they're not willing to fork out to strengthen the team ready to go again, then they're going the wrong way about it.
They've spent 400 million to build the team that they've got now. So
yeah, and it's quite. I mean, if anywhere, I think a striker or another attacking player is something that we need to look at, as well as maybe another defender. So yeah, I don't know, like just with Arteta going back to Arsenal, because obviously that's what it was. We just have to now like wait and just leave him to do his his philosophy. Life was already back in the players. Now you just need to let him fulfill his stay there, and just like, because when they got into that room and they were negotiating, he would have been like saying, "Look, this is the target. This is where we want to be at. But I need this and this and this." And if you don't see that in those 3 years, okay, whatever, we'll step down and we'll chat. So yeah, it's exciting. It's great because that sort of Man United Arsenal rivalry. Hopefully next season will be a bit more. Will be a bit more prominent. And yeah, just building. It'll be another exciting team to watch. Hopefully.
Yeah, Shawnee, can I just ask you a question there? Actually, you said about obviously Arsenal building a team and everything, and you look at some of their star players at the club. So if you're in Arteta's shoes, who do you build the Arsenal team around? Who do you build it around?
That's a tough one at the moment, because I don't know who's staying in the summer. So there are players who, like I say, they only turn up every once in a while. I don't really want to pick on any names, but I'll just pick on Guendouzi. so like he'll have a standout performance where just like there's promise in this lad, and then he'll go missing for 5, 6, 7, 8 games, and it's just like what?
Yeah.
That you can't. This is the Premiership. You need once again Jordan Henderson. All right, fine. In terms of world class, no one would back an eyelid. It's like okay, fair enough. No one would say that, but you would say that he's a definite 7, 8 out of 10 every single game. He's like a 7 out of 10 every single game. And if he does have a bad game, no doubt about it, he'll have an 8 out of 10 next game. Because and he's running the midfield. Again,
oh, hello.
He doesn't. It's just I don't know. He's not even like someone like even Wijnaldum. Someone like so there needs to be a little. They need to have a little chat in the summer and just like go, look, listen, we're pulling a bit too much weight here in midfield. Where can we get players from that actually fit what it is that we're trying to do here? I don't think someone like him would fit the bill there. So if say Aubameyang does stay in the summer, in terms of world class, he's maybe the only player right now in the Arsenal team that I would say would fit the bill of possibly being world class. So you would like say, okay, how can we support him? But he's aging, So you just got to look at it and just think to yourself, okay, how in the summertime could they possibly pull out someone like not like Werner, but could they get a good young
like a good name?
Really. Yeah, someone that's showing potential, and just like go right. This is the guy for us. Let's move forward. But yeah, I do also think you need a strong team as well, and I think that's what Arsenal are trying to do. You can see promise in Saka, and Pepe is another one. He's young, hopefully.
Sean, sorry to interrupt you, just because we're going to have to move on a second.
Yeah, go for it.
LB. So, but I guess just sort of summarize, just kind of final thoughts on just on Arsenal's future, I guess.
Yeah, promising. I'll probably just leave it at that then, because it is great just to see them, enjoying their football. So if they get a good summer transfer window, it's going to be great. Going to be great seeing back.
Okay, fair enough. LB, just bringing you in here.
Sure.
What are your thoughts on Arsenal being back, turnaround, that type of thing?
I suppose it really depends on the definition of are they back. I mean, are they going to get into the top 4? I personally don't think so. I think there's just too much competition for teams wanting to get into the top 4 right now. Obviously, Leicester City, United, Chelsea. But as for Arsenal being back in terms of back in form, absolutely. 3-4 wins in a row, including the Wolves game. And I think they've got Tottenham next week, if I'm correct, and which will be a really interesting game because obviously the Tottenham game's happening right now and they're winning. But I think, going to that game next week, Tottenham might be the team that's under pressure as opposed to Arsenal, given what's been happening recently. So whether that sort of favours Arsenal or not, I'm not too sure. But they'll certainly go into that game with a lot of confidence, which will be good for them. So I've always said that, Arteta is a coach that, he needs to be given some time. And I think we may have spoken about Arsenal on one of your podcasts a couple of weeks ago now, how it was important to give Arteta that time to gel with the players and to give him at least one more season to see how things go. But I think over the last 3-4 weeks, he's certainly earned the right to, have another season with Arsenal. So I think they're back in the sense that, back in form, which is, as I said, good for the club and good for, obviously, Arsenal supporters, AFTV. We haven't really heard the end of it from them. But, when they're winning, you certainly know about it. And when they're losing, you do as well. So, yeah.
No, indeed. I think just to sort of summarize it, like I think this is just a question of us like watch this space basically of Arsenal. I mean, obviously
Yeah.
I did sort of tune in on AFTV and see the responses to a lot of these Arsenal fans and oh yeah, we're this and it's turning and suddenly the gas. But you're absolutely right, you know. So I think that I think it's a process. I think the big thing like I said before we move on to the next segment for me, you know, is with Arsenal, even to a certain extent United and all these teams, is that it's just about the backing and how, you know, I look at Spurs and I'm like right now, and I'm like, there's no way that Spurs are going to. Well, one, they're not even going to get top four. We know that, but even next season, I just can't see how Spurs are going to be even anywhere near challenging anything because of the state of their team and the fact that they're not going to really reinforce themselves with transfers. And that's the same with Arsenal. I feel like with Arsenal Football Club, they can challenge, but I don't think that they. I think that a lot of Arsenal fans are going to be expecting many signings in the summer, and I think their signings are going to be the fact that they were able to commit Saka and Martinelli to contracts, and maybe Aubameyang to a contract, and that will be their signings. You know, at best, maybe one other player via trade swap or something. So that's the thing. I think the only thing I think that limiting Arsenal Football Club is that I just don't. The squad that they have now, I don't think it's going to be any dissimilar to the squad they're going to have next season, give or take. Obviously, Aubameyang staying, and I think the defender Celeber or something like that, who I think is due to play for them this season. So maybe from that point of view, defensively they'll sort of be better. But I just think that unlike Chelsea's and some United that are strengthening in the key areas, Arsenal still have a lot to do in that respect. But anyway, moving on to the next topic, Man City woes. Man City woes. Obviously, people are probably aware of what happened with Pep Guardiola over the weekend with losing to Southampton. Now, I mean, I got an interesting statistic that Manchester City have basically lost more games than, well, Arsenal, United, and the rest of the top four, barring Chelsea.
Yeah. Can I actually give you another statistic there?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, in the last 2 seasons that Manchester City have won the Premier League, correct me if I'm wrong on this, I think they've only lost 5 or 6 games, and they've lost 9 games this season in one season.
Exactly. So clearly something is a bit off. We discussed in previous podcasts about the issue with obviously the ongoing potential ban, which we'll find out I think next week.
Next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, I think that's the whole date for that. Then we'll obviously discuss. Then I think there's the whole thing of Guardiola's contract, given the fact that he's essentially going into the last year of his contract. So, you know, yes, you know, City don't have really anything to play for in the rest of the season, and they probably want to conserve players for the Champions League. Yeah. But is there any? I guess what question I'm asking to the panel, these guys, is like, is there anything in this game that you could see that would warrant or question Pep basically as a manager and the future of Manchester City Football Club, bearing in mind the two things I've said, also the fact the likes of David Silva, Fernandinho are going to be leaving at the end of the season. Aguero is obviously coming to his end. Bruno De Bruyne is still quite peak, but you know, what do you guys think? I'll give the quick comment before I go. Oh, Neek Sports, man, thanks, man. Neek Sports, guys. Really sound guy with really good content and as often does the football dugout with HH. Please head over to his channel and support the brother. He says Arsenal back where? In Europa, more like. I don't think the panel disagrees. I don't think the panel disagrees. I don't think any of these guys disagree, you know, at all. To that Neeks, you know. So I know you love the Arsenal fans. I think we all do actually. So I don't think anyone disagrees with you, buddy. So yeah, Man City. I'll start with LB actually because he's on like LB. City. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, there might be sort of a number of reasons people are sort of looking into this. You know, whether it's because of the end of season and the fact that Pep, like you said, Red Devil, might just wanting to rest some players and take the foot off the accelerator a little bit, knowing that he's got a very important game against Real Madrid in the Champions League coming up a couple of months' time. Psychologically, the players might also be thinking about, whether they'll be playing in the Champions League or where they'll be next year. So I know something like that can really sort of put one off their game. Yes, they're going to secure second spot. That's almost a given. But things like that, because obviously the Champions League is very important for players such as, De Bruyne, especially De Bruyne. I'd say the most important to De Bruyne being one of, if not their best players. And we know how much he wants to win the Champions League. And when a player like that isn't, really sort of doing as well as he could, sort of reflective over the other players as well. So whether that's a bit of a factor as well, and whether or not they're going to play the Champions League, and that's sort of weighing on their minds. So, I mean, at the end of the day, teams are always going to lose games as well, no matter whether you're a Liverpool or a Man City or you're on the bottom of the ladder. I mean, especially when you're on the bottom of the ladder. But so I think people might be sort of reading too much into this. I think it's just a regular sort of, or just a normal loss for Man City. And I think the real test will come when they play against Real Madrid to see how much they're actually focused, and whether or not this Champions League ban is actually psychologically putting them off their A game.
No, I hear you, and I mean, it is essentially all in for City for the Champions League now at this point, isn't it? Effectively, and if he doesn't, then I guess you could say that the season's probably been a failure for Manchester City, because, well, okay, they're still in the FA Cup. We'll see about that. But if for a club like City, if the only thing that they could come from the season is just the League Cup, one would imagine that would be a failure, So I see what you're saying, Robbie. Tom, what are your thoughts on City and where they're at?
Well, obviously, it's another disappointing result. Southampton, like you said, just when you started there at the start, you said, was there anything in that game, in the Southampton game, that you saw tactically was wrong with Pep Guardiola? And I did, and it's not just happened in one game. I'll take you back to the Manchester United, Manchester City, the Manchester derby, where Manchester United won 2-0. Yeah, it was right at the end of the game, and obviously Manchester City were chasing a goal, but Edison just sloppy play. Defensive errors, sloppy mistakes, and obviously McTominay caught him out, and the exact same has happened with Southampton. That is definitely something for me that has come straight off of the training ground. If Ralph Hasenhüttl has not said to his Southampton players, watch where Edison is on the field and watch where their defence is. If it's really high up, play just a shot from from the D or from the centre point or something, and just aim towards the straight, or try and get a bit of curl on it to send it into the net. And that's exactly what they worked on, and that's exactly what happened with the goal. And to be honest with you, I think Edison deserves it, because that he's a reckless goalkeeper. He's been sent off multiple times in his career. He's given away some of the most silliest goals I've seen. That being one of them. Being a goalkeeper, where are you 99% of the time? You're on your line. You're in your own box. You're not an outfield player. You're not playing in defence, sweeping up or anything. That's what you've got defenders for in front of you. And so I think tactically, that's something that Pep Guardiola needs to get into him, to say, right, you're a good goalkeeper. You're one of the best in the world. Show him why. Don't be doing these silly things where you're trying to come out and be reckless and everything and stop a goal scoring opportunity. You're a world class goalkeeper at the end of the day. You should be stopping it, even if it comes through. And that puts confidence in him, as if to say, right, well, if one of the best managers in the world, and Pep Guardiola, is telling me that I need to do this to my game, I need to listen to him, because he knows what he's talking about. And I think that's a conversation that will definitely be had. In terms of over the season, and like you've just said, Manchester City, if they only win the Carabao Cup, that's going to be a disappointment for them. I just look at some of the players, David Silva and stuff, the way he played against Southampton, it looked like he was already in Qatar for me. You know, but seriously, he didn't really provide much. Neither did really anybody else, to be honest with you. Yeah, De Bruyne showed good glimpses, but that's what you expect from Kevin De Bruyne, being one of the best midfielders in the world. But I think some of the players' heads are already looking at Tuesday's appeal. You know, when that comes, that's obviously going to weigh down on the team. You know, you do that. Say if that were Liverpool and they have a 2-year ban out of the Champions League, that's going to weigh down on their players. Yeah, they've just won the Premier League, but being without Europe's top competition for 2 seasons possibly, or even a year, if it gets broken down, you know, that's massive. You know, and like LB's just talked about with Kevin De Bruyne obviously wanting to win the Champions League. You look at this City team, name me a player in this Manchester City team that has won the Champions League. Not the coach, but a player.
Absolutely.
You can't name one. So
No.
But you look at we renown Kevin De Bruyne as being the best midfielder in the world. But people come up to me and say, well, how can you call him one of the best midfielders in the world when he's not won the big trophy? When he's not won the Champions League, he's not won like a World Cup or anything. You know, people renown Paul Pogba as being one of the best midfielders in the world, and that's obviously up for debate along with other things. He's won a World Cup. You know, one of the major things that you can do as a player is win something for your country. And obviously, looking at this Manchester City team,
David Silva's a World Cup winner, though, as far as I'm aware. I think he was in the World Cup team, wasn't he?
I think he was. Yeah, I think he was. But I didn't think about it that far back. But you know, I just look at this. You know, you look at the players out there. You know, Aguero and stuff is aging, and it's these younger players that they've brought in, Jesus and stuff. Can he live up to like what Aguero set at the club, the top goal scorer at Manchester City? And he's still obviously going to be adding goals to that team. But the team's aging. They need to start looking at a lot more younger players and stuff. And like you said, obviously about the contract with Pep, he needs you know, that needs to be sorted out. You know, but I think obviously he's still waiting for what's going to happen with the appeal on Tuesday. You know, that might flick a switch in his mind to say, what am I actually doing here when I can just go to another top team in the world? You know, Barcelona look like they're going to sack the manager at the end of the year. Or I can just go back to my former club. Happy Larry. You know, he's back where he wants to be. You know, so... But if he's going to rally behind Manchester City and he's going to take this club forward, then he needs to come out and make a statement about it. And he needs to go to the Manchester City owners and just say, look, I want to stay here long term. I've got plans. I've got a project. Follow my plans, like we said about Arteta. He'll go into the boardroom and just say, right, here's my project for the next 5 years. Here's my plans. Right, give me the 5-year contract to sign. And then obviously he'd sign it and then come out and just say, right, I'm with the club regardless of what happens.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think this summer, if they do get the ban, obviously, that's the major point with Manchester City is obviously the Champions League and if they go in and win it, and is this ban. We don't even talk about Manchester, you know, we talk about Manchester City don't really have anything to play for. You know, you still need to motivate your players. You've still got 6 games, you know, I think it's 5 or 6 games still to play. Go out there and showcase, you know, there's still players there who can get maybe, I don't know, the top of the charts for the assists in Kevin De Bruyne. You know, other Jesus might go and score 10 goals in these last 5 games and go and get the Golden Boot. There's still awards to be won there. It's obviously not what they wanted. They would have wanted to go on and win the league. But in terms of what they can do, you need to set yourselves these mini goals for the last 5 or 6 games. And I think Pep Guardiola will definitely walk into the dressing room with his players and say, right, we've got 5 or 6 games left. Right, let's see if we can get, I don't know, 12 points out of these 5 games, at least, as a minimum. You know, and just these short-term expectations to get them out at the end till the end of the season. But like I've said before about Manchester City, short-term, I don't think it's going to improve. the next two, and I think if Pep Guardiola doesn't win the Champions League with Manchester City this year, I think he's blown it, and I don't think he'll ever win it with them. And it's just a case of, will the owners back him even more? They've spent enough money on this team. Will they want to spend any more on it? And obviously, like I said before, money has ruined football. It's ruined the game. I look at a club like Manchester City, it's sending out the wrong signals to football. Football is a competition. It's competitive. Whereas with Manchester City, it's let's flash his wallet around and show what we've got in the bank accounts and everything. And this is why I will always renown teams like Liverpool, teams like Manchester United, as being superior clubs because they've done it the right way. They've not got the wallet out and said, "Oh, look here, we've got 700 million sitting here that we're going to invest over the next 3 years."
I mean, I mean, United, we United kind of have in terms of the amount of money that we spent and or wasted. But I understand what you're saying, and that money that United.
Yeah, but it's been at a longer period. That's been like 7 to 10 years. We've spent 700 million, and we've invested in 4 managers' plans. Manchester City have just invested in one manager's plans in Pep Guardiola.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, so I agree with the sentiment. So yeah, I understand.
Well, anyway, that's my thought.
Yeah, fair enough, Tom. Fair enough. Shawnee, I think it's about Shawnee. What's your thoughts on Manchester City's in quote woes? Obviously as a Liverpool fan, you are obviously aware that City put 4 past Liverpool last week. But then obviously they've lost to Southampton. So the inconsistency is there, so they can beat, like you said,
Diabolical.
they can beat Liverpool, they're world champions, that they lose to Southampton or Wolves twice, even United twice.
It was literally the worst team to play just after we won the Premier League as Man City. Just to basically let everybody know that we're still around. And then we've got Virgil van Dijk walking back to the goal line as Joe Gomez is struggling to deal with this player. Just no one could care less.
I think they were a bit hungover and maybe
celebrating
too much.
I blame the Man City players because the fact that, frankly, had they beaten Chelsea like they should have, because they should have beaten Chelsea, then at the very least, then this sort of game would have meant something, because it would have literally been if Liverpool win, then the title was theirs. So they would have carried some meaning. But because City decided to say, you know what, we for some strange reason, we're going to capitulate or not care. They just, I think it's on them. But sorry, go on, Shawnee, go on.
Yeah, it would have been a completely different game if that was for the title. Because, like I say, there was second half, there was no interest from the Liverpool players at all. They were just trotting around the midfield, just bumbling about. City though, it's once again, I don't know, we don't know what's going to happen, coming the next season, whenever the next season's starting, but we don't know. How many players are leaving? You mentioned quite a few names there.
David Silva's leaving at the end of the year, and Fernandinho is. So I think the whole point is that Rodri is supposed to replace Fernandinho, and then Phil Foden is supposed to be, I think, David Silva's replacement.
Right.
So in that sense, I don't expect City are going to buy. Well, I expect them to buy another fullback. But outside of that, I don't expect
if
City
they can find one that wants to come.
Depending on the Champions League thing, but I don't expect them to buy, or maybe another forward. I don't know, with Aguero, but I think those are probably the only 3 areas I expect. So I don't expect them to replace David Silva or Fernandinho because they've already got Rodri and Phil Foden.
Yeah,
so the midfield is going to be something like Foden, Kevin De Bruyne, and Bernardo Silva. That's probably what their midfield is going to be going forward.
Sure.
So go on, Shawnee. Sorry.
Yeah, that's what was information I needed. So you've got a few players leaving, a few players that they want to step up to the plate. So next season might be a bit strange looking for Man City.
Yeah, exactly. It's like one player's already jumped ship in Sane.
So it might be a bit odd, but At the end, yeah. If they can get, people, because it is still Pep, and it's still it does mean something in the football world. I know that we joke about him quite a lot, but other players in other clubs take him very serious. So he does bring names, and he does attract a lot of people who want to play good football and play in the Premier League. So they've got options. But what are they allowed to do? What are they not allowed to do? And and if they can, then they would probably be looking at young players. So yeah, it just depends on what happens. So when they're ready for next season, once again, you're going to have to get them to gel. You're going to have to, they're going to be finding their feet. Are they coming from abroad as well? So it's going to be. I don't know. It might just they might catch us off guard, but who knows? So yeah, I know that's quite a short answer, but it's difficult. So once they're set, and that this is what it's going to look like for them at the start of next, then you can start figuring out what
start planning and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, yeah. So much like the Arsenal thing, I think this is getting one of these watch this space, but I certainly will. I probably, for those who be listening, I think when the result of the ban comes up, that'll probably come out as like a breaking news. So I'll probably be doing a live stream when we finally get the news regarding their ban and not or ban or not ban. And certainly if they've got a ban, if it's been removed, then I'll probably just post a video saying, oh, this has happened. But if they have got banned, if they haven't gone, but then this obviously has massive implications for City and also massive implications for the top four race, because suddenly, as we said multiple times in the show, 5th place becomes a Champions League spot. And now, Manchester United, at least currently right now, even though I think the United can get top 4, are in 5th place, so it makes things interesting. But anyway, moving on, out of England and now into La Liga. So Var Madrid, this is basically coming from Barcelona's president. It's actually called Bartomeu, because right now, for those who aren't aware, Real Madrid are about 4 points clear of Barcelona with about 4 games. I think 4 games to go. 4 or 5 games to go. And the last 2 games, Real Madrid have basically won 1-0 due to penalty, mostly won by VAR. The latest one being Athletic. And in this particular incident, Sergio Ramos, I think, was adjudged to have, or he was fouled. And I think why the Barcelona's complaining is that I think prior to this, it looked like he was fouling someone else in Athletic Bilbao, a penalty. So long story short of it, the president is basically saying that VAR favors Real Madrid, or they get the bigger decisions. And Zidane has come out saying this is nonsense. Look at the decision that Barcelona gets generally. So I bring this up, I think, not specifically to just talk, because we've already talked about Madrid's chances of winning the league, and they probably are going to at this rate. But just the sort of the idea of VAR, and just discussing the idea of does VAR actually favour the big teams like a Madrid, like a City, like a Liverpool, and has VAR? Do you want to still see VAR, or do you not want to see VAR? I guess as simple as that. So let's go go the other way around. Let's go to Shawnee. Oh, who's backstage? Yep. TBF. Oh, actually, let me just add TBF in, because I want to have his say. TBF, man, or Suspect Dream, how you doing?
Yeah, well, thank you, man. Thank you for having me on. This subject it just pisses me off, but okay. Okay. Where do we start? Okay. So we offensively are very bad, and basically, I would say that because we are offensively bad and we get away with penalties, and obviously it could go like a 60-40 or a 50-50 or a 70-30 decision. It could go either way. Real Madrid ends up on the positive side, but you got to remember that when you talk about refereeing decisions, it's not just Real Madrid. It's the whole league in general. The refereeing in La Liga is the most crappiest thing I've ever seen. I mean, for those Barcelona fans who are complaining about, what about the Bilbao game, or probably some Dons would complain about the Espanyol game. I mean, has anyone actually laid an eye on the Atletico game, the Barcelona versus Atletico game? Because that's just bollocks. That's just bollocks. And the penalty, the both penalties, Semedo penalty, the second Carrasco penalty. You gotta understand that just because it's advantage Real Madrid and the title is really close, people want to pounce on certain conclusions. Bartomeu is a shitty president anyway, so he's got no say in this. When his team plays like crap, okay, he smokes. He literally smokes crack, man. Look at the signings that he's making. Look at the signings that he's making. Look at
Did you see Griezmann's goal yesterday, though? People were saying Griezmann was a failure, but that goal, he came clutch a bit. So
yeah,
you never know. But anyway, go on. I don't want to
That's not my point. That's not my point.
I know.
That's not my point. Look at what Bartomeu is doing. He is literally getting rid of youngsters like Cucurella. He's getting rid of Arthur, and he's getting washed up dons like Pjanic. Like, what's wrong with him? This is the guy. This is the guy who's 24/7 always high. This guy is actually making such bizarre claims. Like, shut up, man. Piss off, okay? Like, and also, if you talk about Real Madrid benefiting from VAR, whatever. If you actually look at the thing, I can literally quote matches, man, from when Barcelona benefited. I remember I think this was a recent Real Sociedad game. Messi steps on a player's ankle with obviously no intention of the ball, doesn't get sent off. Then against Sevilla, Carlos fouls Suarez. Messi comes up and swears and shoves him and pulls him and pushes him to the ground, doesn't get sent off again. In the Barcelona versus Getafe game, Piqué shoves the player in their own box, no penalty given to Getafe. What else is there? Leganes. Not Leganes. Oh, wait. Betis. Sergio Roberto tackles Carles Alenia with no intention of the ball and doesn't get sent off. Later that same game, Longley elbows a player and scores a header. Nabil Fekir gets sent off for protesting for 2 seconds. Real Madrid against Real Madrid in the Clásico in the Camp Nou. 2 penalties not given. Rakitic literally pulls Varane's shirt and brings him down to the ground. Longley tackles Varane, literally puts a boot on his stomach, not sent off again. So what is your claim when you say Real Madrid benefits from VAR? My thing is not this. Okay, there might have been decisions where Real Madrid has obviously benefited from certain stuff, from 50-50 decisions or from 60-40 decision or whatnot. But just because it's the league, people like, VAR Madrid or whatnot. Because, dude, the end point is the refereeing is shit. Okay, I've seen better refereeing in the Sunday league. The refereeing is so bad. It literally you can't even understand how La Liga is actually like a top 5 European league. It makes no sense, man. It literally makes no sense. And also, even the recent Atletico game, Vidal not sent off after committing a penalty and a brutal tackle. Penalty given to Barca when Semedo wasn't even fouled in the box. Like, hello, all the Barcelona fans in the comments, where are you? Where are you? I mean, these are just certain instances. Just because it's a title race with certain people, especially Bartomeu, the same Bartomeu who has the mindset to send a future prospect away from his team and sign a washed-up player to his team, has the audacity to say that the one team is favored and everything. First, I would say that clear your mind out, ask your team to play well, then you complain about whatnot. Okay, your team plays like shit, and then you're talking about all this. Get out, man, get out. Get out.
Right. Thanks for the exposition, TBF. No, I appreciate it. So I don't think, I mean, we're going to go around to everyone, but I certainly don't think that well, actually, we'll see what everyone actually says, actually. So, but I don't think there'll be many people here that will disagree with you. Let me go quick to Shawnee, just about this whole VAR Madrid sort of thing and VAR in general. Like, what are your thoughts, Shawnee?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, so it was the president saying that it favors the big teams, right? Is that what he was saying?
It favors Real Madrid because Barcelona obviously a big team, but I think he was trying to say it favors certain teams, i.e., it favors Madrid over Barcelona or other teams. I think that's what his point was.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I mean, VAR, in my opinion, has been. I mean, like I say, it was our first season, and it's not even a full season. You know, like it's still. The impression I'm getting is it's still fixing, and they're still trying to find a way of how to get it working smoothly, kind of like what it does in rugby. So it is really useful getting decisions right when a referee needs help, and it just needs to be used in the right way. And if it gets used in the right way, I think it's a tool that can be very useful to a referee. So, like, I don't think at the moment the referees are quite shy to use it sometimes because there were so many times where I was just like, well, that's a handball, well, that's a foul, that's, you know, and I'm just like, where are these VAR guys? Are they on their break? Like, what's going on?
Wait, sorry to interrupt you, Sean. Rodney, shout out to you. We've already done our Arsenal segment. If you have any questions about Arsenal, then do ask the panel. We'd love to answer. But thanks for tuning in, buddy. Sorry, go on, Sean.
Yeah. So so it needs refining, and they need to get on top. It's the first season though. Like it's not like it's going to stay like this. We're going to get better at it. I don't think you can just bring it in for one season. Like, well, that didn't work. Let's get rid of it. It needs 5 seasons or something like that to really get into its stride. So that the referees know what they're doing, everybody up in the wherever they are, knowing what they're doing, to get used to it. I actually think it worked pretty well. There's some times where a referee was just like, okay, a call's come in, it is a penalty, and it was a penalty. It was a clear penalty. Some goals have been disallowed, because it's just like there was a handball leading up to it, that were maybe a little controversial, and we haven't seen that since. Now there have been handballs, and it's just like, well, why has that not been called off? So because that's happening, it's brought in a lot of controversy. But it's just, I think they're just trying to figure out the line of when they should intervene and when they shouldn't intervene. So I don't know. I don't think there's a particular bias because it's on it. You can see it as an audience. So I don't think they can be biased, providing they get it. They're spot on in terms of consistency. If it's consistent and the small teams benefit from it or not benefit from it, and the big teams benefit from it or not benefit from it, providing they get the consistency accurate and spot on, there it's not going to be a problem. It's just it's gonna aid football. Because at the end of the day, it's high stakes. You're talking about let's say Man United don't get into the Champions League because they got a VAR decision wrong. That's millions and millions and millions of pounds that went missing, because VAR wasn't there or it wasn't used properly. So providing it's consistent, I think it will only aid football, make it fair. So I can't see the bias. I can't see it. They need to get more consistent now. That I know that it will happen though.
Fair enough. Thanks for input, Shawnee. LB, what are your thoughts on this whole Var Madrid situation? Bartema's comments, I guess the first thing, and then just VAR in general for this season.
Yeah. Look, I think the president has a lot of guts to come out and say such a thing because, if we go back to the days of when Mourinho was in charge of Madrid and when Guardiola was in charge of Barcelona no doubt got the rub of the green back then. They got all the decisions in their favour. Players sent off, Ramos sent off, unfairly, referee decisions, very questionable decisions. I recall the Champions League semi-final where Pepe was sent off and he didn't even make contact with the opposition player, and that changed the whole ties. So, it happens to clubs. Sometimes, you get the rub of the green. Sometimes you don't. Barcelona enjoyed a period of time when referee decisions favoured them when they were in charge, or when Pep Guardiola was in charge. Now that Zidane's in charge, and the tables have sort of turned. Obviously, Barcelona don't really like it. The president don't like it, but it's football. Sometimes decisions go in your favour, sometimes they don't. So I think he's just really split the dummy there, and he should sort of learn to control his emotions a little bit better, in my opinion.
Thanks, RB. Thanks. No, appreciate it. Oh, go on.
As for VAR, look, I think ever since they introduced it, it's been in the scene now for I think about 2-3 years. Obviously, it was there during the World Cup in 2018, but I think it's been a real hit, in my opinion. A lot of the decisions. I mean, put it this way, Red Devil. If VAR wasn't in place, we would not have defeated PSG last season in the Champions League round 16.
No, it wouldn't have. No.
Yeah. So I think it's really sort of changed football, but like anything, you're going to get your pros and cons. But I think it's definitely something that they should continue to maintain and to use in football, because it's a very quick game, and referees, they're continuously on the run, and they obviously have to monitor what's happening on the field and things sort of happening, behind play, or when they're not sort of around. So obviously VAR is very useful times like that. So I'm hoping that they continue to use VAR into the future. So.
Fair enough. Thanks, LB. I think is it Tom? I think you have to speak on this. Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think yeah. So just give your final thoughts, and we're going to be talking about Lewandowski, and by now we'll be popping on. But yeah, go for it.
No, to be honest with you, with VAR and everything, I know it's been in the game a year or two or whatnot, and it needs obviously time to get its decisions better and stuff. But it's ruining the game in some senses for me. When a player scores a goal, you can't really celebrate, or the fans can't really celebrate because they've got to wait until it's all checked out and it's above board, and then you can celebrate if it's done, or you can debate whether it should have been given or shouldn't have been given. And it boils down to this. And I watch it in the Premier League a lot, and I'm not sure if it's the same in other leagues that I've watched. Let's just get this right. Who is in charge of and who officiates the football match? Right, Red, I'll put this question to you, and I just want a one-word answer. Right, who is in charge of the football game?
The referee.
The referee, and the referee who is where, on the field or where?
The referee, the match official on the field. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the referee's opinion on the field doesn't really matter, because it just goes back to somebody who's in an office somewhere in London, in terms of the Premier League in London, and then they just review it from a computer screen. You might as well, and then they'll overturn it. The referee might as well not be on the field. It's not a first-person view of a decision. A referee doesn't run the game. A computer runs the game. That's just how clear. And they'll put it on the screen when they're checking a decision or whatnot, and they'll put all these shapes and all these lines on the screen of how they're checking it and everything.
The only thing I'd say,
we don't even know what that means.
The only things I'd say, Tom, to correct, especially compared to, because obviously we're talking about in the league and stuff, is that in other leagues, certainly in the Bundesliga, and I know in this league as well, there is, and it does exist in the Premier League, but for some reason not encouraging to it. There is a match screen by
the referees. The European refs go and look at the screen, but not in all league. Yeah, they're advised to go and look at it, but they don't go and look at it.
Yeah.
Why not?
So they've been
take a minute out of the game.
Yeah.
Just pause the game, take a minute, blow your whistle. Right, VAR check. I'm going to go and have a look at it for myself, and then he can consult with a person who's obviously running the VAR.
They've been dissuaded not to, which I think is wrong, and I think that's what they're going to review at the end of the season. And to be fair to them, a lot of that is because of pundits and people. So, because I remember when VAR was just first introduced in the World Cup and stuff, and when referees were doing it, and people were complaining, saying, "Oh, it's taking too long. It's interrupting the flow of the game. The decision needs to be made quicker." So the Premier League thought that'd be a smart idea to just bypass that on the field decision so that they could come to decisions quicker. But the
Yeah.
reality is that coming to a quicker decision does not necessarily mean you're coming to the correct decision or the reasonable decision at times.
Yeah.
And that is why we've got the situation right now, you know. So for me,
And just on that, like I watched the Everton versus I think who was it? Everton versus Leicester game. Everton versus Leicester game when they were a penalty awarded, and on VAR they had the stopwatch up for how long it actually took for that VAR decision to be ruled, where it was the handball and then it was given as a penalty. That took 3 minutes and 38 seconds to decide on the decision of it. The ball touched a player's hand, and the player's hand was raised in the air. So it's handball. It's not behind his side. It's not in a natural position. So it's a clear handball. And I think a new rule needs to be passed, not just in the Premier League, but in all leagues, where if a VAR decision can't be decided in under 2 minutes by high-level referees who run the VAR technology, if they can't rule whether it's this decision or the right decision or the wrong decision, what the referees give on the field, then you stick with what the referee has seen on the field. That's what you should stick to. Because then you talk about there where it's wasting time and everything. I watch in rugby, whenever they get onto the technical referee or whatever, they pause the timer. They pause the game. They pause the time. Yeah. Why don't we do that in the Premier League? So then you're not wasting minutes. And then you don't have all the controversy about injury time and extend it all over, you know. And these are the sort of things that I think need to be improved. But in terms of obviously that with what the Barcelona president said, you know, I just think it's a disgusting claim. I think personally he should be sued if not fined for it. You know, you're coming out and you're disrespecting something that's only just been brought in the game and needs time to develop. You're obviously not only is he disrespecting Real Madrid as a club, he's disrespecting the league, he's disrespecting the referees who actually have jobs on the line where they've got to feed the families from that job. And he's saying that they're in the wrong for where VAR is concerned. It's been brought in the game to help the game. People can have their own opinion on it because I'm sure at the end of the season, teams in all leagues will vote whether they want to keep VAR or they don't want to keep VAR. And obviously, you know where Barcelona's vote's going to go.
Yeah.
But it's not just them who own the league. Everybody else who's in that league will have a voice and will have an opinion on it. And that's where it'll be decided.
Yeah.
So there you go anyway.
No, fair enough. Fair enough. Georgia B says VAR gives the refs 2 chances to make a wrong call. 10-second look is enough. I mean, see, final thoughts, I think, on VAR. Like, I think at the end of the day, I mean, you know, people need to obviously realize that, like, even the referee making the decision back is still, like, obviously a human being. So, of course, there's a possibility that they will still make the wrong call. But I always say this to fans, is that, like, it will never be highlighted the correct decisions that referees or VAR will do. You know, you'll never hear about the right decisions. You know, you always hear about the 1 or 2 wrong decisions, and then somehow everything works. And that's why I think it's always important to keep things in perspective. Actually look at the decisions that VAR took or made, or look at the interventions, and then look at how many of those interventions were objectively correct. And out of those, and then conclude whether it's a success or not, rather than focusing on the 1 or 2 incidents that were controversial and ignoring the 98 that were. You know, that's my 2 cents. But we've got Julian in. Julian, are you there? Ooh.
Yeah, I'm there. Hi.
Hi, how are you doing? We're switching topics now, and we're actually talking about Lewandowski for Ballon d'Or. So I'm just gonna 2 seconds here. 2 seconds. There we go. Yeah. Robert Lewandowski has had a fantastic season for Bayern Munich so far. You know, I think we've spoken in previous podcasts about the fact that he's now he scored the most Bundesliga goals in one season for any non-German player, I think. But he's having a great season. And there's already been talk about potential Ballon d'Or, depending whether Bayern Munich win the league, etc. So, Julian, since you're new going into this, like, what are your thoughts on how Lewandowski has been this season, and do you think he's definitely a candidate for Ballon d'Or this year?
Yeah, I think he's definitely a candidate for Ballon d'Or.
Hmm.
Because he scored 34 goals this season. So yeah, I think he should win the Ballon d'Or.
So do you think that? So I guess let me ask you this question. You know, obviously he's performing in the Bundesliga and he's done very well in the Bundesliga. But do you think that for him to really be a contender for the Ballon d'Or, Bayern Munich really needs to win the Champions League? If he doesn't win the Champions League and say let's say the City win it, will he still be a contender?
Yeah, I think they probably need to win or even get into the final. So that he has a chance to win the Ballon d'Or. So I think maybe if Barcelona's going to the final, probably Messi will get the Ballon d'Or again.
Of course. of course he will. I think even if Messi gets the semi-finals, he'll probably still end up getting the Ballon d'Or. You know, so it's he doesn't have to win the Champions League to get a Ballon d'Or anymore. So, but no, I think that's fair enough. LB, what are your thoughts on Lewandowski being a Ballon d'Or contender?
Absolutely, I think Lewandowski should be the Ballon d'Or winner this season. With like what Julian was saying, the amount of goals he's scored, the consistency he's been able to bring, and it's not just this season. You know, in previous seasons as well, he's always led the charts and come first when it comes to the amount of goals scored, whether it's in the Champions League or in the Bundesliga. Unfortunately, it's been proven in the past that if you win the Champions League, you're not guaranteed a Ballon d'Or, i.e. Frank Ribery in 2013, when he should have, in my opinion, won the Ballon d'Or, but unfortunately he missed out, and I think it was Messi or Ronaldo, one of those two, who won it that season. But as for this season, I mean, Bayern Munich, they've shown that, you know, they can actually get into the final with the form they've been able to produce in the group stages and against Chelsea. Obviously, we're not too sure about how they're going to play when they come back, but I'm sure they'll be able to take care of Chelsea once they go back out on the field for the second leg. As for Robert Lewandowski, yeah, I honestly think this is his season. So if Bayern Munich do make it to the final, I think he should win the Ballon d'Or.
Okay, thanks, LB. Thanks. We're joined by Bayern now, who's got an amazing Bayern Munich fan channel. So please, whoever's listening, yeah, man.
Okay, I just turned on the camera because I thought people would want that.
No, go for it, buddies.
Well, I think if Lewandowski doesn't win this Ballon d'Or, someone's violating us. I think they need to go to jail, because what he's been doing this season has absolutely been extraordinary. I think he's been the best player this year, not just because Bayern have been one of the best teams this year, but Van Dijk almost won it. Van Dijk, like, you know, it's not a defender's award, so he almost won it. So if that's the case, I mean, look, Van Dijk is amazing, but he didn't do anything extraordinary. Vidic did the same thing. Boateng did the same thing in 2014 when winning the World Cup. Van Dijk wasn't extraordinary. That's always been done before. But I just think now we have to give Lewandowski that Ballon d'Or. That's just what needs to happen. Someone needs to go to jail if they don't. So, yeah.
So do you think this? I mean, just ask you like two questions on this. It's good to have you on the channel by now. So like, and just get that Bundesliga perspective. Like, do you think that the Bayern need to win the UCL? Because clearly, if Bayern win the UCL, I don't think there can be much debate. Although I do think that this whole thing is rigged and Messi will somehow still get it. But do you think that he needs to win the UCL to really, for him to even be considered? If he doesn't win,
like
not going to be
100%. I personally am one of those people that think, you know what, the Champions League is the most important club competition. If you win that and the best player on the best team, I'm actually on that train where I'm like, of course you have to win it. Ribery didn't win it; he got robbed. but that's on a different day. But honestly, Lewandowski winning the Champions League would have to mean they give it to him. But even then, without the Champions League, I think they should probably still give it to him, but they'll probably give it to Messi, like you said, or they might even just give it to Cristiano Ronaldo just for the popularity contest to continue. So, yeah.
No, and lastly, just a question. So, like, we've obviously, and I guess this is more about, Bayern Munich in general. So, because I don't think I've asked you specifically, but obviously, it's been recently announced that Leroy Sané has obviously joined Bayern Munich.
That's a coincidence right now because I'm making a tactical video of how he's going to fit into the team. So that's what I was.
Oh wow! No, fair enough. So how are you sharing anything? Like, how do you feel that what he provides, is going to enhance Bayern's? From what I understand, he won't be able to play in the Champions League.
No, he can't.
He won't be able to play. He can't. So it'll be for next season. So how do you think that Sané coming into the Bayern side will enhance Bayern's chances for next season and domination? What have you?
Right. I still can't believe we got him at such a low price. But what I'm actually impressed by and what I like the most with Sané is his motivation is to actually win the Champions League. So imagine if Bayern win the Champions League in 2020, which would be a miracle. It'd actually be very, very, very hard to do considering we're off for a month. If we win it this year, Sané's motivated for next year. All of a sudden, you have players that are that motivated, and Sané's level, just the way he plays on the pitch, the pace he brings. We have Kingsley Coman, who very, very talented. He can put anyone on their freaking floor, but he can't put a cross in. Like, he'll make a 50-yard run, get past 10 players, and then he'll whack the ball back to the Eiffel Tower in France. He's just Kingsley Coman is just unreliable. So Sané coming in just automatically brings that team to a whole new level in terms of just completeness.
And final, I keep saying final question, but I just want to bring up. I want to get your thoughts on this. That there's a Liverpool fan on this channel, and there are a lot of Liverpool fans that I know that are eagerly sort of waiting for some news regarding Thiago to Liverpool deal, and how you feel about that. And what is the? I haven't seen anything official from, but what's going on, man?
All right, so the chairman of the board, Kalem Zermanija, basically. He said he didn't actually say Thiago was going to Liverpool. He said Bayern haven't received any offers for Thiago, but obviously we know he wants to maybe join Liverpool. But he also said there's nothing coming in, no offers. So, and he said, let's wait and see. And a lot of news media has been twisting that around. And I was confused reading his actual statement because it didn't sound exactly like what the people were saying. So nothing's been confirmed. There's still maybe, I'd say, a 50-50 chance he leaves. Because Thiago isn't one of those players where he's like, I want to get out of this club. He loves this club. So he's probably most likely just either he's going to leave right now this summer or he's going to sign a new contract because he won't run down his contract. And I'm actually annoyed because coming back from injury, he's not in the first team yet. He's not starting ahead of Goretzka and Kimmich because they've been so good since the restart. So really looking at Thiago, excellent. He's probably Liverpool's best player. That's the most annoying thing. Like that, he walks into their team, and I watch Liverpool and Wijnaldum. He just does the simple stuff. But imagine Wijnaldum, but just 10 times better. That's basically what Thiago is, and he'll bring that to Liverpool. I'm annoyed if it. I'll be I'm not gonna sit here and be like, Kwani, he can leave. But I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry if he leaves. I'm actually gonna be angry.
Shawnee, do you want to respond to that as a Liverpool fan in this channel?
I will also cry, but because I'll be happy.
Oh my god!
We don't know. Like I say, I think Thiago, absolutely fantastic player, will only improve any team that he goes into. So Jurgen Klopp, I'd imagine, will have really productive talks if it goes forward. But like I say, he did exactly the same thing with Werner, and the talks just didn't work out.
Yeah, Liverpool might just be broke, bro. They might just be broke because they should have gotten Timo Werner. It made sense. So they might just be broke, and that's what I'm hoping happens. I'm hoping Bayern are like, we want 50 million, which I think is the fee Bayern wants. A lot of people are saying 30 million, Bayern are the greediest club in the world. We couldn't even want to pay more than 60 million for Sané. So we're going to demand a lot of money from Liverpool. And a lot of Liverpool fans have been saying Thiago's off his prime. He's 29. Nah, he's a baller. Ballers don't age. Look at Ronaldo. Look at Messi. Look at
De Bruyne even, who's 29, you know.
Right.
So.
Look at David Silva. Thiago is probably going to be just the best CDM in the Premier League, the best box-to-box midfielder, the best creative midfielder, all in one player. Like that's what we're losing if that happens, and that's what Liverpool are gaining.
Someone here says if Bruno Fernandes doesn't win Ballon d'Or, I'd say Lewandowski is the next best choice. That's what Georgia B said.
Why are you saying
you're
just violating me? All right, violating me right now.
There's trolls in the chat. There's no worries there.
Are you saying Bruno Fernandes? I swear he only has like 8 games or 7 games or something like that.
Yeah.
That is true. That's true. But like it's an open.
There's no buts in this.
It's an open channel. Apparently, it's an open channel. People, there is one question actually from True Devils that says asking me like, what are your thoughts on Mason Greenwood? If you saw,
he's cold. He's cold. Oh, that kid is so cold. I was watching the highlights for the Bournemouth game. Oh, that kid is so cold. Oh my goodness, this guy could probably pack ice. He's just so chill in front of goal. He's 18. I just realized he's 18. Yeah, I don't know how he's not in the England squad just yet, because he's better than Rashford, in my opinion. Because Rashford has all the technical ability, but the guy, every time Rashford has a big decision in front of him, he can't make it. Greenwood's better. I think he's probably your most clinical finisher at this point, because he's scoring like crazy.
Yeah. No, I certainly think he has. I think there's a lot of potential. I mean, I don't necessarily agree that Greenwood with Ballon d'Or. I don't think we can say that just yet. So I think that's certainly not compared to Lewandowski, man. Like I think that's going a bit too far. So, but yeah, no, I think in summary, I think is anyone else just thoughts on Lewandowski getting? I think Tom, have you guys spoken on Lewandowski for Ballon d'Or?
I haven't.
Oh, Tom, yeah, just quick share your thoughts here.
Well, obviously, you know, I can speak. Lewandowski's, the name. Obviously, when he joined from Borussia Dortmund, had a major impact on Bayern's team and everything. And he's only just developed his game even more. You know, playing for a European giant in Bayern Munich. You know that obviously carries something, and he plays with amazing players like obviously Thiago's been mentioned. You know, Boateng over the years has been a good centre back for them. You know, serving. You know, he's played with good players in Robben and Ribéry. So obviously he's gonna learn. And we talk about obviously Lewandowski going for the Ballon d'Or. I do think he'd definitely be in the top 3 candidates. Whether he'd win it or not, I don't know, because obviously that's up to debate. And we won't know until it's obviously announced. I do think if I had to pick somebody, I would probably say Lewandowski, just because of the impact he's had on this Bayern Munich team this year. And your question of, do Bayern have to win the Champions League for him to win it? Not necessarily in my eyes, because, you know, you can debate it all you want, you know. Over the last 2 years, you know, people would have said Kylian Mbappe should be in the top 5 candidates to obviously try and win it. And have PSG got to a Champions League semi-final, not even a final? No, no. So there you go.
He's still living off the World Cup, isn't he?
Yeah, preach. I'm not here for one to say that like the Manchester United players are better than Mbappe. So I'm not going to say that, but I do get Mbappe's 21 now, and he did the whole World Cup Monaco thing at 18. Like I do get a bit of a story to that. Like everyone still says he's the world's best player, and you're like, if he goes into next season and he's still at PSG and he's not done anything this season or next, are you still going to say 4 years afterwards he's the world's best player when he hasn't really done anything for 4 years?
Hey, that's spot on. All right, thanks for having me on. I gotta go.
You take care of yourself, bye, man. Thanks for coming on, buddy.
Yeah, see you later, man.
Take it. See you later, man. Yeah, always good to have Bayern on. And if you guys are watching, please head over to his show. He's probably one of the best up-and-coming YouTubers who've got on Bayern Munich content. So please head over to his channel and give him a like and subscribe. He posts a lot of very good content. So let's just move on to like our final topic. And that's just briefly Inter Milan and Conte. Inter Milan and Conte. N'Golo Conte. Sorry, not N'Golo Conte. N'Golo Conte. Conte, the manager.
You're getting a player and a manager mixed
I
up.
know. It's a Conte. It's Kante Conte. That's it. Kante Conte.
One's French, one's Italian.
Exactly. So Inter Milan lost to Bologna 2-1 at home over the weekend, and I normally wouldn't be covering this, but I think the reason why I thought this was to bring up is because the amount of signings that Conte has made, and maybe it's going to take another season for them to gel. But if you've made, I think let's go through Inter Milan signings, like in just over the last year or so. When Conte's been manager, he obviously signed Lukaku,
Ashley Young.
He signed Ashley Young in January.
Sanchez on loan.
Sanchez on loan. Sorry, Godin. Yes, that's 4.
Yeah.
He also. Hakimi just now. Okay, so that's 5. Victor Moses. That's 6.
That other player, what was his name? Barella, was it?
Barella, I think 7. Was Lautaro Martinez there before he came?
Yeah, he was there.
He was there
the season before.
Was there anyone else that I'm missing out?
I was going to say Skriniar, but no, he was there.
No, Skriniar was there. I haven't been.
Was Nainggolan?
I think
there a year before. I can't remember.
I think Nainggolan was there. But at least the point I'm trying to make is that the guy's almost signed a new starting 11, basically in 1 year. And this is what's also frustrating as a United fan, is because if someone can sign essentially a new team in basically a transfer window and a half, I don't get how United are so slow in signing. But anyway, that's a separate argument. The point I'm trying to make with Conte is that he's made all these signings and in a bid to basically close the gap on Juventus. And unfortunately, that hasn't happened, and you're losing to teams like Bologna, who are battling relegation. Is it just a question of the signings need time, that Conte needs more time? Because if you're the board, you're maybe thinking, well, hang on for a minute, can we really afford to give this guy another £100 million or whatever to sort of transfers? What do you guys think? I'll start with LB again. LB, Inter, Conte.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Look, I think like any coach and any player, you're going to need to give them time to gel with the team, the way they play, style to Conte. And like you said, Red Devil, it's basically a new team that he's got this season, a totally new Inter Milan team. And I think they're currently sitting third spot, Inter Milan, third or fourth.
Third spot.
Third spot, yeah. So which is a pretty big achievement for a first year coach, even someone as experienced as Antonio Conte. So I think the board, the whole club, need to be a little bit patient, give him some time. Obviously, there's still a few more games left to go in this season, and if he gets third spot, that will give him a UEFA Champions League spot for next season, if I'm correct as well.
Yeah.
Yep. So they haven't even this season. They weren't even in the Champions League, if I'm correct.
No, they're in Europa League.
Anyway.
They were. Yeah, they were in the Europa League.
Yeah, they were. But
and then they dropped. Yeah.
Yeah, because they couldn't get out of the group stage. Yeah, so look, they're going to get into the Champions League next season as well. And like I was saying, even for a coach who's as experienced as Antonio Conte is, just give him some time, be a little bit patient, and I'm sure he'll get that team going in the right direction. They're getting Hakimi as well, so that will be a really good inclusion for the side. So they're just going to have to be a bit patient, and I'm sure he'll have some success with the club.
Thanks, LB. Thanks. Yeah, that's fair enough, and that's balanced and reasonable. Tom, what are your thoughts on Inter Milan and Conte?
Well, just like what LB just said, they obviously signed Hakimi. Well, I don't really understand why you would go out there and buy Ashley Young then. You know, why would you go and buy Ashley Young if you're going to go and buy Hakimi anyway? So you've just wasted money there on a player. They've pretty much wasted 5 million on Sanchez's loan, plus they've got to pay his wages, which is a ridiculous point. So they've probably wasted about 20 million paying him for the full season. So there you go. You've wasted more money there. And what have you actually seen on the football field from Sanchez or Ashley Young? For Inter Milan, pretty much nothing. You know, and that's exactly why teams like Man United need to get rid of these players. And Inter Milan's just become a dumping ground. And obviously, even when Conte was at Chelsea, he wanted some of the players that he's going to buy. He wanted Lukaku at Chelsea. He wanted Ashley Young instead of Victor Moses. He wanted Sanchez when he was up for sale at Arsenal. He wanted all these players, but so he's took them 3 years and then he's brought them to a different club in Inter Milan. And to be honest, I'm not really seeing progression on the football field. Yeah, they've got third place, but for a club like Inter Milan, do they really want to be in third place now? They want to be winning the league title. They want to be making inroads in the European competition. And Conte as a coach, I almost see him as a bit like Mourinho in a sense. He doesn't particularly enjoy the media and what they speculate about him. He doesn't particularly like what pundits have to say about him and the way he plays. And it's almost like he's like Jose Mourinho. The first year or 2 years, it'll be all sweet and sound. It'll be all, cherry on top of the cake and everything. But then when it comes to the third year, he bottles it almost. And then it's as if he just gets into a tailspin and the rut gets worse. And then he just can't see out of it. That's exactly what happened at Chelsea. First season went in there, boom, knocked everybody off the perch, everything. Chelsea's Premier League champions. Next season has some good performances in the Champions League, improves in the summer. Third season, absolutely bottles it, and then ends up getting the sack. It's not. And then they're replacing with Joffin Sarri. It's a case of like we've talked about with the Italian leagues being defensive leagues, and obviously, I've obviously defended that, and I don't believe that every team is that. Conte's more of a tactical manager than people find him. He's not necessarily, Pep Guardiola. Tactics. He'll work 24/7 on his team's tactics for a particular game. But obviously, he puts the work and puts the effort in. And if Inter Milan are prepared to go and shed out a bombshell of money, or another 100, or because it'll be 100 million this summer, and then it'll probably be 100 million the next summer. Before you know it, he's racked up 300 million's worth of charges, and where's it got your team? Maybe somewhere, maybe nowhere. And this is the thing with these managers, and I'm not particularly a fan of the olden managers. To be fair, obviously Sir Alex Ferguson, because of the way he dragged it out over a 20, 30-year career, you could obviously get to like him, and managers like Guardiola who are aging. But such as managers like Conte and Mourinho and stuff, I don't really have a soft spot for them, to be honest with you. I like up and coming young managers like Nagelsmann, such as Eddie Howe, young managers who have so much potential to go on and be great managers in the future. But I look at a club like Inter Milan, the history, the success, and they don't suit being in third place. They need to be challenging for the league titles and whatnot. So I just think there needs to be an improvement. From Conte in terms of on the field antics. He's getting he's getting what he wants off the field, but he needs to show the owners why he should be the manager of Inter Milan and where the club's plans and where the club's money's, where it's been invested and where it's going to take them in the future.
Fair enough. And just to wrap things up, Shawnee, what's your points on Inter Milan and Conte and just what's been going on?
Once again, sort of with LB on it. It's just a matter of let's have a look and I mean, how long's Conte been there for now? Like 2 years, 2 seasons?
This
is a
year and a half. Yeah. I think he came in towards the end of last season, and then he's then carried into obviously this. This is his first proper season.
Full season.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, it might just be another case of like LB says, it's a concern if it continues for whatever 3-4 seasons from now. You think to yourself, right? There's no progress. Let's unfortunately there needs to be a change at the club. But you just like I say, he's building by the sound of things, and even if he doesn't get it right straight away, it's not like it doesn't sound like he's spending hundreds of millions because he's buying old, washed-up players. So I don't. I guess it's just another one of okay. He's trying to do something. If it hasn't worked out, okay, in 2 seasons from now, you think to yourself, okay, where are we at now, and nothing's changed, then obviously something's wrong.
Fair enough. No, I think that's reasonable. So like, and I think for a lot of these topics I've brought up, and I apologize, not as dynamic. There's a lot of watch this space. So definitely, obviously, for Friday and Monday, hopefully, so we'll try and get a bit more dynamic or contrasting topics. But by all means, guys in the chat and also guys in the podcast, if you have any topic suggestions, please message me and we'll certainly get them on the channel. I just thought there was obviously quite a bit to discuss tonight. Thanks everyone who's watching, guys, as well. If you're new to the channel, remember to please like, share, and subscribe to Red Devil Studio. Follow us on Twitter, and smash the notification button for the latest Manchester United news, content, and European football content. Have a nice day, guys, and cheers.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Cool.